It's still Negro, homie.
Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. The show is about to begin.
Man, like it's almost one of those things to where it's like you have a really hard day, and it's like with all this drama, right? It's like it's kind of hard being me, you know. I wrote something but somehow in some way I have to keep coming up with just like every single day. I mean, may I talk to y'all? Kick a little something.
Really, brother. Come on.
As I breathe through this thing, 2 a.m, I kind of hope like when I get out of this party is still jumping because my mama ain't home. And like sometimes I feel like, you know, I got woman in the living room getting it on. But it's like they ain't leaving till 6 a.m. So what you want to do, man? Shit.
Yo, what's going on, bro?
I feel like I got a pocket full of rubbers, right? And my homeboys do too. Y'all not anybody? Nobody? Nobody? Anybody?
I got you.
So turn off the lights and close my door. But for what? We don't let them hoes. Yeah. And we're going to blow an ounce of this. Anybody? Nobody. Nobody knows that reference.
Yeah, we getting it all. We getting it all. Bro.
Oh, Snoop Dogg didn't do. Anybody listening to me?
And I just
Anybody listening?
he's gonna do something.
I want to see if y'all picked up that reference. That was. You ever heard a song to where it is talked and not sung or rapped, and it sounds like something completely different? I just talked to y'all Snoop Dogg, Gin and Juice, verse 1. That's all that was. That's why I asked you, TJ.
It threw me off a little bit. Just the talking, yeah. the talking, yeah. It threw me off.
Right. Now I knew you were doing lyrics from something. I was like, wait a minute, that sounds so familiar.
I thought he wrote his own poem, original.
I was like,
I'm just gonna freestyle.
So much drama in the LBC. It's kind of hard being Snoop D-O-double-G, but I somehow, some ways keep coming up with funky hits. Nah, that's yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna do that every show. I'm gonna see if y'all can pick up on whatever it is. I was gonna get some old school. What kind of music are you into, Darius? What is it that you listen to? I said old school.
no, I listen to listen. The only thing, I don't listen to the new school rap. That's about it. I can't understand half of what they're saying. So, other than that, everything else.
Everything. TJ?
I mean, well, everything
They
by
don't,
the
they don't got Apple Music,
Black
man.
diaspora. I don't.
No, Apple Music, they got the lyrics for you. Just hit it.
Okay, that's
As
fine.
the
But
song
I'm not
goes.
appreciating the music enough to go through that effort. I'm just not.
It tells you what they saying. No, I'm just playing.
Okay.
No, I'm with the
What do you listen to?
Same though,
What is your genre?
R&B, 90s, 2000s R&B.
He said some country in the text. I don't know if y'all
a little
got
bit
that.
of country. a little
What
bit of
country? What country is your thing?
I don't know. I just listen to a little Chris Stapleton here and there.
Chris Stapleton. He has a very popular song that Tennessee. Is that him? Tennessee whiskey.
Yeah.
Well, this is Socially Responsible, the podcast. That is IRSPNSBL, the podcast. And I want to welcome y'all, all you heathens. We call our listeners heathens.
Why?
We call them heathens. It's probably for all the wrong and right reasons. If you're a religious person, it's probably not the best thing to call them.
But okay, but if you're not religious, why you call them heathens?
Because
that is a religious
Term.
phrase, term. So why would you be using it?
it's it's kind of like to tussle feathers.
Oh, you're being socially irresponsible.
There you go.
There we go.
There you go.
All right.
So we call them. We're gonna be hoodlums. We're gonna say just something weird. But heathen, when I looked it up, it was someone who doesn't have a belief in Christianity, different things like that. Just a clear blank slate, right? Just and that's how we want to talk. We want to talk like we're just open, and people that are listening. I want us to be unbiased in a sense.
It is what it is, huh?
So trying to rebrand, probably one of the worst words ever.
I don't really think people use that word anymore, but
They don't.
just go with it.
Unless they talk about kids.
I don't know the last time I heard the word heathen until just
Yeah, I
now.
haven't. And Sanford and Son was probably the last time I heard it.
Yeah,
That was probably the last time I heard it, and that was a good 20.
20-something.
Yeah,
you probably could
nobody
rebrand the
goes-
word just because nobody uses it.
Sanford and Son. That was
Yeah, it's actually that's, but it's I forget
That's
her
like,
name, the sister.
okay.
The sister that comes in, she was a Christian, and she had her bag, and you heathen Fred, she was, whatever. But yeah,
Well, we're gonna try to rebrand it, but that's what it is. So I want to welcome everyone that's listening and just understand that this is a space for a safe space for communicating, and that's where we want to make the conversation and make them uncomfortable. We're going to talk our shit and to promote thought and growth, understanding, and most importantly, having the conversation. And that's what we're here trying to do. And hopefully, as you listen to, you appreciate what we are doing. If you ever want to join in on the conversation, I want you to feel free to call us live. 210-706-0619. I am Damien, a.k.a. Maverick, the Devil's Advocate. Next to me to my right, we have
this is Darius, aka D-Man.
D-Man.
It was good, people.
And then also with us, we have friend of a friend of a friend of a friend. Who we got?
I was about to say, ain't as smooth as D-Man over there, but I'll just say, TJ. My name's TJ Merritt.
He sound all cool and
Over
sexy.
there.
This is old.
I was trying to match D-Man over there.
Is that what you were doing? All right.
Darius.
Darius, aka.
Well, I would like to welcome y'all two gentlemen again, Darius, back for the second week. And then, of course, we have TJ. Thank you for coming on. Another panel of men. And one of the cool things about, of course, having us panel of men is we can talk about some men issues, or not just men issues. I don't want to call them men issues. We could just talk about
Is say male perspective. So we'll be talking about all kinds of issues, but it's gonna come from a male's perspective.
I like that. So we're gonna talk about everything from a male's perspective, and we're gonna get in our bag and tell you how we feel. A lot of people talk about how we don't talk about our feelings and we don't open up. Y'all are the heathens out there. Y'all are the flies on the wall in the locker room. And we're gonna talk our shit and let you know how we feel, and hopefully it'll be something constructive and not something to where we're trying to tear anybody or anyone else down. Real fast, I want to give you our call to action. As you can see, if you look below, We're going to be located. Go to Linktree, linktree.com/irresponsible. That's IRSPNSBL. And we'll have everywhere you can find us. If you want to listen to us live, that's YouTube and Facebook. You can see us live. We're going to try to get on Reddit and Twitch. It's a lot of work. Not that smart, so we'll figure it out. Also, if you want to listen to us after the fact on our DSPs, that is your digital streaming platforms. We're on Apple Radio or Apple Podcast. We're on Spotify, iHeart. We're on Pandora. Anywhere you can download podcasts, we're going to be there. So you can listen to us after the fact, while you're cleaning the house, while you're working out. It's kind of cool. Something I've also figured out that you can speed up the play. So when I listen back to our hour-and-a-half show, I listen to us twice the speed. It still sounds smooth and clear. And I don't have to sit there for an hour and a half and get all the good words that we have. So try to do that. But once again, that's where we're going to be located at. Once again, I'm going to show it to you right there. That is www.linktree.com/irresponsible, IRSPNSBL. And then the phone number, of course, is 210-706-0619. So, last week.
Let's talk about last week. Listen,
I wasn't here. I seen it.
So I got quite a few some feedback, and people like the show, but they felt that you weren't clear on what the issue was. Like they really couldn't understand what was the problem. So we're going to spend a few minutes here to kind of clear that up.
To clear the air up on that one.
Yeah.
Okay, so last week the show was about the source of our heartbreak. Is that kind of right? Is that kind of what it was?
So your heartbreak?
Source of our heartbreak,
Your
or
heartbreak?
our heartbreak, or us? That's it wrong.
But I'm saying it was your heartbreak.
Okay, yeah. So okay, I thought I'm just over tongue tied. So what it was is I described it, and of course I was all over the place on it for the topic and everything being so new and so fresh. The source of heartbreak, or at least of my heartbreak that I feel, is just a communication deal. And I know me and Darius has had some pretty good conversations about communication, and I feel like as a man, and I don't want to listen. I'm a man and I date women, right? So everything I speak on is going to be in the sense of that I'm not trying to pick on women. I'm not trying to say women are the devil, even though you are. I'm not trying to say that I dislike you or anything crazy like that, but that is kind of where my life revolves. And I feel like sometimes the inability to express my feelings and emotions and is actually being heard, I think that's hurts me the most, in a sense. As a man, I feel like I want to have a purpose, and I want to have just a purpose in someone's life. And if I don't have that purpose, and if I'm unhappy, I want to be able to express my unhappiness to where it's like, oh, okay, I hear you. My bad. I'm sorry. Let's fix it. As opposed to being like, oh, that's just an excuse. That's not what it is. Or them defending themselves, saying that it is okay for them. I shouldn't have the audacity to feel like that. Sometimes I feel like I'm not being seen, and sometimes I feel like I'm not being understood or heard. Like, I want you to see me for who I am, not for what you want me to be or what you think I am. Like, see me for me. Also, sometimes I have issues doing that also. So I understand how it feels on both ends. And that's, and I thought I made it very clear on the last podcast when we were talking about it as a man, like what I feel my issue was. And on my, I want to be able to be mad. I want a woman to cheat in a sense, and we're not going to get into that, but a woman to cheat. And most people are like, what? Oh, man, like, what did he do? What was he not providing for you?
Right.
And it's understood that the reason why she cheated was because of something that she wasn't getting at the house. But if a man goes out and cheats, it's because he's just a dog and a whore and just wants to knock down everything in his path.
Yeah.
We're also unhappy too as men. A lot of men, I mean, what is y'all? What is your source? What do you think about mine, and what is your source, TJ?
Man, from what I gathered, I just tried to gather from your podcast last episode, what you were going through. I think I kind of had a tough time grasping exactly like what it was. It was a lot being said without saying
True. Yes.
what was actually going on. So it was kind of hard for me to kind of decipher.
Now that I kind of deciphered it, how do you feel about that being an issue?
I would say it just sounds like you want to be able to communicate your feelings or express your emotions or your feelings. That's just what it sounds like to me. From what I gather, you want to be able to like just express and not be judged for expressing.
Yeah. How about you? What is a source of your heartbreak or issues when you're dealing with the opposite sex?
I would just say, for me, I believe in selflessness when you're in a relationship, and I think a lot of times we expect, if you are that way, you expect it out of other people.
Okay.
And the way that I think we are socially constructed, you know, the dynamics of a man and a woman's relationship is not always, you know, reciprocated.
Right.
Like from, you know, initially to me, woman to man. So that would be
you know,
my
it's
thing.
it's funny because that's actually what I was gonna say. It was I always say I have a problem with women having an expectation of me or of men, but then don't think we should have an expectation of them. Or my biggest issue is you have an expectation of me, but don't think that I should have the same expectation of you. So, you know, like the biggest one they like to use is the word consistent. Oh, we want a man to be consistent, but they're not consistent either.
Yes.
You know, and so that for me is like the you know, one of my major rubs is, you know, it just seems like they always seem to think that men are at the root of every problem in every relationship. And even if you point out to them what their issue is, they'll circle back around and say, well, it's because you or because men. And it's like, well, why can't you just own your own shit? You know, and it just be because of you. You know, but it's somehow it's always got to come back around to, well, because of man or because of you, you know. But if you flip it, we can't use those excuses.
We can't.
We can't say, well, because I didn't have a daddy in my house, or, you know, whatever. We can't use excuses. You know, if we use excuses, they're gonna be like, well, man up. So what is that about? You know, so that for me is probably like my biggest rub is I just that just gets under my skin. So
I agree with that, and I want it to be fair, and to the point to where, again, like we go through things too. Not to be weird when I say this, but you know, I don't know if I should say this. I don't want it to come off insensitive, right? But you know, we know women have grown up in very unstable households, right? Daddy issues or whatever. Rape, molestations, just different things to where it breaks down their. Men are out here getting molested and raped too, as kids, believe it or not.
yep.
Men are going through abandonment issues. Men have had mothers and fathers that have never been there for them, to where they had to figure it out themselves. And as a man, we're taught to figure it out ourselves. We fall down, we cry, get up, be a man, be tough. We're not supposed to cry and show weakness and pain, right? No one's gonna come and give us a hug and tell us it's gonna be okay. We have to figure that shit out ourselves, and sometimes we figure it out in unhealthy ways. And no one is there to coddle us and tell us it's gonna be okay. But it's crazy because even as I talk this shit, I'm just giving excuses as to why I feel it's okay to do whatever it is that I do. And I'm not trying to give you excuses.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, and if I can add to that, when you say, you know, men have issues and, you know, if we try to express it or share it, you know, we look, you know, we're hoping to get some kind of feedback, or some kind of positive feedback. And the issue is the kind or type of feedback. So if I would agree, you know, with women and with anyone that would say, well, you know, you don't want to coddle the man, you know, because he's a man, he does need to learn how to deal with issues, right? But I think sometimes that's where that kind of support and communication is not there. Like when at least in my case, if I'm going to share something with you, like an issue or problem, something that's bothering me, I don't need you to coddle me. I just need you to show that you understand, and then show encouragement and that you believe I can get over it or do it or whatever. I don't need you to call and be like, yeah, I understand, baby. It's going to be okay. They shouldn't do that for you. I don't need that. I don't need that. But some kind of support, just, hey, I get it. It's rough out there, but you got this. Like, because now I know you're listening, you hear me, and you believe in me. But when you act like you don't believe in a man and you treat him like a baby, and you know what we're about the topic we're going to get into soon.
Yeah.
When you treat him like a baby, that's not good.
How often do you think it is to where we're treated like not? Like, it's crazy because it's crazy to say how often do you think it's in situations where we feel we're not treated like a man. But it's funny because women, in a sense, feel like they have an idea and understanding as into what a man is. You're not a real man. Like, that's the worst thing to hear from a woman, to tell me that I'm not a real man.
Here we go. What's that word?
What you got, TJ?
What's that word?
I was just gonna say, I was gonna dive. I'm a deep thinker type of thing. I go deep, and I think one of the things for my generation is that there's a lot of masculine energy in like the younger generation of women. I might get some flack for that, but just hear me out. I think like with
They're gonna get in your ass.
single parent homes, dads not being in the home, which we're not gonna get into who fault or whatever. That's a deeper conversation for me too. Women are raising their sons with everything going on in the world, police brutality, etc., things like that. They're somewhat coddling, you know what I'm saying, their children, their sons, their black sons type of thing. So, you have that going on. And then you also have the flip side of that where, women are raising their daughters like, don't need a man for nothing. Go get it, whatever, by any means necessary. Don't depend on this person or whatever. So you're basically raising, two of the opposite spectrums.
Right.
And you're sending these two people out in the world to come together, and it's not going to work. You have younger women with masculine energy. And if that young man does pick up his masculine energy, they're going to butt heads, off top.
Or
if he
or
doesn't,
he expresses it in a toxic way.
Yeah. And if he doesn't, then you get you're not a real man, or this, that, and the third. So
Yeah.
that's my take on it.
I don't like it's a conversation that I normally use when it comes to that. Like, I will never be able to talk about the experience of giving birth. I'll never be able to talk. I'll never be able to give birth. This is a conversation I do not care to be a part of at all, because it's something that I just will never be a part of. And it sucks because that's how I feel when women or whatever, we're talking about men. Like, this is not a conversation that you should partake in and tell us how it is that we can be a man. You don't understand what we go through every day as a man, like, at all. Like, there's very little that you understand. And you shouldn't understand. You're not supposed to understand. You don't understand how it is. And I use this analogy all the time. You don't understand if someone was to break into our home and to burglar it, rob it, whatever. You don't understand how I am not allowed to be afraid. As much as I want to hide under that bed with you, I'm not allowed to do that because I'm a bitch. Right? So we always have to be tough. If we're out at a bar and some guy tries to holler at you and tries to grope and grab you, and I'm like, yeah, let's just get up and go, I'm a bitch because I didn't fight him. I don't want to fight him.
Brother.
I don't want to fight him.
Boy.
Like, I don't want to put myself in harm's way for the fuck of it. But in reality, as a man, that is our job and our duty. And you're signing me up for this?
Right. Right.
When we go out, I don't want to be bothered, but just because I'm a man, there's things that I'm going to do. We go to a furniture store. He's talking to me first. I don't want to be here.
Could care less, huh?
I can care less. Like it's never just I can just be as a man. And it's not me complaining. I like the role that I have as a man. I like that. I like it. But don't tell me how it is to be something that you're not, and then define it as real or fake.
Agreed.
Yeah, 100. Hey, we're going to have to use a snippet of what you just said in another discussion later, because that actually leads into something else, that, not for today, though.
Okay.
It's going to be for another discussion, but it's very important.
Write it down. Remember it. I know you remember it, right?
I got you.
Okay. And then even in that, so Facebook, Kenneth Baker, a close, I don't want to say a close friend of mine, but he's not a distant friend either. He is, he has his own audio shop, Positive and Negative Audio, I believe it's called. And it's off of Montgomery, I believe. Anyway, he talks a lot. He's older. He's been through a lot. He's experienced a lot. And he will sit down and give you a word and just a real nigga conversation whenever you want to. And he posted something online about a conversation he's had with one of his younger friends, okay? I'm gonna post it. I read at maybe like a fourth grade level, so bear with me. So I'm gonna post this up here as well, so you can read it as well as I go over it. I'm gonna skim through it. But he was saying, so he had to tell one of his young boys he was acting like a beta male simp mangina. He kind of went off on his friend, right? He was this morning. He said he tried to explain how his friend tried to explain how an argument led to his ex breaking up. First thing he tells him is that, she says he is a bum after he just paid her rent. So they're in a relationship and she's calling him a bum after he's, breaking bread. Mm-hmm. And he was like, stop right there. Ain't no coming back from a woman being comfortable enough to disrespect a man, especially one that is paying bills you couldn't, and threatening him to call cousins and just trying to get people to beat him up. This is a man who is doing everything he can for this woman. And because they got into an argument, she wants to threaten violence on this man by other men that are in her life, family members, relatives, friends, whatever, to check him, right? Mm-hmm. Understand this. And this is what Kenneth was saying. Understand this. You don't appreciate my help is what he's trying to tell the woman about the man. She doesn't appreciate it. He said, I'm gonna nip it real quick with extreme. If you don't appreciate my help, he's going to nip it in real quick with extreme prejudice. I like that word, with extreme prejudice. There's a big difference between a disagreement and complete disrespect, insult, and name calling the man you expect to get up and protect you if your life should, if someone break into the house, etc. No man should tolerate that. Fellas, if a woman is that type of woman that believes she can call any other man, family, authorities, etc., on you, this is a woman you leave alone. She will never be able to respect you if she has someone she would even consider a higher authority than the man that you are. You become disposable at that point. In her eyes, like that's it. You should never sign yourself up, is what he ended with, pay my bills and kiss my ass duty towards a woman. Darius.
Let's go. What's up?
What?
So that is definitely a classic example of emasculation. Definitely a classic example of emasculation. And I want to say this first before we even get started. I do understand and I do know this is not every woman. We are not speaking to this as if this is how every woman acts and responds to men, but it is symptomatic of the culture and a lot of stuff that you hear, even on in social media. If you're in any kind of singles group, you hear and see a lot of stuff like this where there's a lot of emasculation of men. So that's the first thing. In this example, it was like blatant, right? She was totally disrespecting him.
Yes.
Just flat out disrespect.
Threatening to have her cousins beat him up or whatever.
Right.
That's weird. Crazy.
Right. I don't know if the thing about that situation, you go, okay, wait. So was she real sweet when she first met him, when he first met her and he didn't know she was like that? Because I'm like, why would you even be in a relationship with that woman?
Yeah, right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I wouldn't even tolerate that. But so that's crazy. But I would like to say and stress that I think that emasculation tends to be even more subtle. And you kind of hit upon it earlier, something you were saying earlier. It's not always just that blatant kind of in your face disrespect, like, here, you're a bum and he just paid the rent, but he's a bum. Like,
Yeah.
oh, you a bum, you just paid the rent. I don't understand that. Right? But they will use words, phrases, and things to compare you to, basically they use it in a way to manipulate.
Okay.
That's my thing. They will emasculate to manipulate. So
A woman being a manipulator.
yeah. Jezebel. But
That's not, you can't say that. So that's
can't
not
say
true.
Nobody uses that word in either. Nobody uses it.
can't say Jezebel.
Yeah, that's another word. Who uses that?
Jezebel. But no. They what they'll do is one of two things. They'll either do something like, you're not a real man if you don't do X, Y, Z, right? And so the stipulation is that if you don't agree with them,
Yeah.
then you're not a real man. So in order to be a real man, you got to do what they say. So that's manipulation, right? That's manipulating
By
because they
the
want
letter.
you to do what they want you, or to see things their way.
Yeah.
Right. The classic one though is that they will compare you to their grandfather, their father, their uncle, their big brother.
Okay.
And they will say, my big brother, my father, my grandfather said men should X, Y, Z. This is what a man should do. If a man doesn't do this, X, Y, Z, he's not a real man. Bullshit. Who's to say that their grandfather, father, brother, uncle was a real man, or a good example of what a real man is?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And
totally.
hello, I have a father, I have a grandfather, and an uncle. I don't have a big brother, but I have. but so what are you saying, that all my examples of what it means to be a man were less than men? Yeah, and only her examples were men. But they do that again. Like I said, the thing is, look at it, is to manipulate, is to make me feel bad if I don't see things the way they see it. You see what I'm saying? So it's used to manipulate. And that's the biggest issue I have with it.
Now y'all might get mad at me from my perspective.
No, go with it,
Y'all
brother.
might,
You
y'all
don't have to
honestly,
agree. We
with
don't
this
have to
post,
agree.
Yeah, with this post,
Go ahead on, so I cuss your ass out. I'm just joking. Go ahead. Let's hear it.
there was a lot missing there for me, honestly.
Like what?
There's a lot, like, he just says that they have an argument about what, and what, and I'm I play devil's advocate a lot.
Okay.
'Cause I'm all about communication on both ends. So it's, what did he say? And her choice of words, her calling him a bum, was probably not the best choice of words. She probably shouldn't have called him anything out of his name, but calling him a bum after just paying, rent, utilities, whatever he paid, was probably the wrong word. And then I want to know what was said in the argument to where you're gonna call somebody on him. Like, I have to know the context of it.
Why does the what matter? And I'm a big, because
I have a lot of females in my family. Like, I'm only like one boy, like 3 boys out of 9 grandchildren, something like that.
Okay.
Or something like that. So it's just like, I'm protective, grew up
Yeah.
in the road, protective of like women. I just want to know what was said on both ends.
But like, I personally do not feel that anything
Constitutes that. No
for you
violence at
to
all.
emasculate or call me a bum. Like, there's this thing that I feel like I am a whole man out here, right? And there's a level of respect that should be given to everybody, women included. But as a man, I go out with my friends. I play basketball a lot, hoop, football, sports, and these are activities that can get hostile. And these are activities that arguments, and grown ass niggas don't even talk to me in the light that a lot of women feel that is okay to talk to us in. You have to understand.
I can agree.
I deal with grown ass men daily, right? I grew up playing football. I grew up playing basketball, competing.
Yeah.
Right? You understand, I have been talked the worst and most shit to by a woman in my whole life.
Agreed. Yeah.
But like, how does that even make sense? And then it's always about how we need to treat and talk to and respect a woman. But do we not warrant that? Do we not have feelings? If you say something
on both ends, you definitely want, respect. Her calling him a bum. Again, choice of words, I'm all about communication. Like, if you can't communicate and talk that out, whatever happened, whatever the argument was about, then, I'm saying, there's an issue there regardless. But also, like I said, choice of words, like you calling, this man a bum after he just paid your rent and utilities, like, technically, if we're just going off of that. Who's the bum?
Who's the bum?
Right. I was going with that. Like, who's the bum?
For me, that's not. Yeah, are there some communication issues in there? I'm pretty sure we can assume that there is. I mean, again, this is somebody telling the story of a story, right? So, and they're not giving us all the detail.
Yeah.
But I don't see the major issue as being about the communication because she called him a bum. So that ain't got nothing to do with communication. That has everything to do with respect. So why doesn't she respect him?
See, but there you go with the why. You went with the why. If you go back to the post, it's like
the why
into an argument.
The why to me is more of a rhetorical why. Like, because there should never be a why. If I love you and if I care about you and if we have a disagreement or even if I hurt you and do something bad to you, right? Like, we're allowed to be angry, we're allowed to be upset, but there's also a level of respect that we need to have for each other, especially if we are just in it together, right? And I'm not going to sit here and say I've never called a woman out of her name and gotten mad. I'm not going to sit here and say like I'm perfect. I've done it. But I can admit that I was wrong by it, right? And I understand the effect that it has on the situation because it's kind of hard to go back to something normal. And I understand that when I do that is because sometimes I think people have been disposable in my life to the point where if you're here, you're here. If you're not, well,
See, you bring up, y'all bring up a very interesting thing about this. So, like you were saying, if we were to talk to a woman in a disrespectful way, call her out of her name or whatever, everybody would see that as wrong, right?
Easy.
Right, and that people will be coming to her rescue, blah, 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 blah. But when it comes to a man, if a woman does that to a man, the expectation that is because he's a man, he's supposed to be able to take it, right?
Yeah.
Right? So you can't be bothered by it because you're supposed to be a man. Right. And so, but then at the same time, it's like, but we want men to express themselves more and to let us know the feelings, but they want certain feelings at certain times. And again, I'm going back to manipulation. They want the feelings that agree to the perspective that they have of a situation. Mm-hmm. So as long as your feelings and the way you're acting out is in line with what they feel about the situation, they're good with it. If it's not, then they're going to have a problem with it. So like you were saying, in this case, if a woman calls you out your name, listen, they say all this stuff about sticks and stones may break my bones, but names will never. Words have more power than the sticks and stones.
Oh, definitely.
Right? So woman calls you out of your name or disrespects you, it hurts.
Yes.
I don't care what anybody says, it hurts. But we're not allowed to express it, right?
Yeah.
If we act out angry, we're being toxic. If we, act hurt, you're being emotional, you're being all in your feelings. So as long as in her feelings, it's okay. If a man does it, you're in your feelings and it's a negative thing. So when are we supposed to express our feelings? When it's in line with their perspective.
Or when it's not about them directly. If we have feelings that's about our job or about our homeboy or about our mom or about whatever, like, oh man, yeah, that bit, and they'll jump on the bandwagon and tell you all kind of stuff. They'll love to have those conversations, but once we turn around and say that, this negative feeling, I want a man to try this one day, and if you get slapped, I apologize, right? But I'll take that one for you.
You try it, then tell us the result.
let us know.
Let us know how that shit went for you, right?
Right.
But talk to a woman and tell her about a situation that you don't like and put it on a coworker or the issue with a coworker and their relationship. Let her comment on it. Let her tell you how their coworker should handle that. And then be like,
got you.
Now let's say that coworker was me and you're that girl. Now how should I handle this situation? They'll tell you some real shit when it's not about them. But then when you try to be like, well, actually that coworker situation, that was me. And the girl that did that thing to him, baby, that was you. So the same thing you told me that I should do, should I do that to you? Should you come back and apologize? And how do you think that would play out, TJ? How do you think that would go?
I just think that just goes to the person that you're dealing with. If you're dealing with a logical person, somebody that you can, converse with, then you shouldn't have to do that. Like go around the world to get the
Truth.
message across.
Yeah.
And I typically try to avoid those type of relationships. Typically,
Right.
Yeah.
And listen, I'm going to say, because we're constantly saying women, it sounds like we're saying all women. And so I have to say this again so people understand we don't mean all women. And I think it's important to say that because what I don't want to hear is get conversation when we get off, we're walking around and we bump into someone text me or call and be like, you're toxic. And no, I'm not saying
that's the thing about
all
social
women
media,
that they
man.
love to call us toxic. But yeah, so I don't mean all women because I definitely know of some quality women. I know some brothers in relationships with some quality women. They're blessed. I envy them. I'm like, man, I can't wait to find that woman for me. But so it does exist. We're not saying all women, but since this is socially irresponsible, we're talking about a broad spectrum, and in the culture, and in the culture right now is toxic.
Toxic as hell. We need to have a show. I want to have a show, and we've also talked about this, about words and how words are overly used and misused. Toxic is one of them, I said.
Yeah.
Another one that I don't know if I should, I'm not going to get into it. I kind of want to, but I'm not. The word balance.
That's what I want.
Women always talk about how, a man should have balance. You need to have balance. You need to balance me and your life, X, Y, and Z. To be, as a man, right, we're fighting for position in life. We're fighting for survival. We're fighting to take care of our family. We're fighting for income. We're fighting for just position, period. In trying to succeed and be great, there is no room for balance. In being Michael Jordan, Kobe, they didn't have balance in their life. They had basketball. Anyone that wants to be good at an instrument, you can't have balance. You need to go heavy on the instrument side, right? I want to be a great father. I can't have, to me, and I could be wrong, so if you disagree, let me know. I can't have a balance in dealing with my kids. I need to be kind of heavy on the kid side. And the thing about it, when I look at it, I'm so used to playing second fiddle in my own life to where I'm going to be okay, right? I'm going to go outside and watch this kid's movie, even though I don't want to, or I'm going to play video games. I don't want to be here, but I'm okay because I'm going to be all right, because my reward is not having time for myself, but providing for other people. I don't think women understand that sacrifice totally. And it's not their fault. I always say women, in my opinion, are very selfish. But it's just because that's the way society has made it, to where everything is catered towards a woman. Men are treated better. Men are well more respected, but they're not catered to.
I see that.
Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
So it's not a woman's fault. Open door, pay tabs, ask them out on a date, pursue, court, date,
constructs.
everything. Like, everything is, so they don't understand what that sacrifice and putting yourself last for something else is. Where that is like our life. That is our life, hands down. So I mean, it's just weird. Anyway, what do you say about that, TJ?
This last time. Did that one.
Go ahead, T.
No, I was just gonna. I was really thinking about the two men that you basically brought up. You said Michael Jordan and like a Kobe. Like, you think about status of life, like and balance. If you're going off the word balance, no. Typically, it just depends on the people. Like, those guys, they make millions. If you're Michael Jordan, you're a billionaire. You know what I mean? And the women in their lives are going to be more understanding as to why the balance isn't there, because they're probably taking care of everything. And I mean, every single thing. So, you know, in that dynamics, even in that situation, I can't speak for those women, but they're probably like, I mean, well, that's the least I can do. Like, you know what I mean? Like to just take care of the house and have the kids and try to be that other half. Technically, that's what you're supposed to do.
Yes.
If a man is providing in that nature, again, Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant stature, then you know what I mean? Like, you're not going to have that kind of balance.
Yeah, that is, and I think that balance is just important, man. It's not that it's important, but I think it's just fraud, and you know, not everyone's a Michael Jordan and a Kobe, right? So not everybody's. My balance may not create millions of dollars, not saying that you, but my balance is creating $50,000-$60,000, and I need to be unbalanced. I wish my unbalance is creating $20 million a year to where I have $1 billion. But just because I'm not a Michael Jordan and you understand his imbalance because of his billions, you also have to understand there's men out there that are making $26,000 a year, and they have to be imbalanced just to make that.
That was my point.
Wait,
Yeah.
That they make more, so it's more.
It's acceptable.
It would be more acceptable at that
Hold
stature.
up.
You know what I mean? So,
I hear what you brothers are saying, but I can see the women right now rolling their eyes.
I was just going off the word balance. I'm
Just off balance, right?
But I hear them
I already
on
know
this
what you're
one
ready to say.
because they go through some shit.
Yeah.
They're doing a
True.
whole lot.
I already know what you're ready to
So what about their balance? Because they're raising kids, they're taking care of the household, and they're being career women.
I want to say this.
Are men complaining about women being imbalanced?
I speak from perspective of me. So when it comes down to, and I know majority of women are probably like single mothers, they, you know, less help. What I speak from perspective of.
Oh, you just call
50-50.
single woman, they ain't got no men, call all them, majority of them
I'm a single father. I mean, there we go, single father.
I'm trying to snap on it, my fault.
I'm speaking of 50-50, half, everything. That's what I'm speaking. I'm not speaking for, you know, all the extra. I'm speaking from my perspective.
But so a random question. Now I'm curious.
What?
Do men complain about women being unbalanced?
They may not use the word unbalanced though.
So without using that word in the same realm of idea, do we complain about women not giving us enough time?
So like you said early on that you're a man and you date women. I'm a man and I date women. You're going to have to ask a woman.
Okay.
You're going to have to ask a woman that question.
So
Because
have you?
I mean, my personal experience, but that's just me speaking. Like, I can talk to another woman and she'd be like, I don't complain about men. And so I'm going to sit here and tell you, I don't do that. But that doesn't mean that that's the perspective of most women.
True.
So
He asked, what do you do? He asked,
Yeah.
do you complain if you're in a situation of unbalance? Do you complain about that unbalance to your female partner?
well, I don't know that I complain. And I'll be honest, I've been fortunate if I in a relationship wise, I have not been in a relationship with an unbalanced woman. I haven't.
What is
I've
an
been
unbalanced
blessed in
woman
that
to you,
way.
if I may ask, just to?
I mean, by your narrative, I would say an unbalanced woman would be someone that their energy and perspective is overly focused on one side of their life. So maybe they're overly focused on their career, or they're overly focused on their children. Which a lot of people go, well, what's wrong with being overly focused? Because you have a husband. If she has a husband,
Okay.
right? And that husband needs attention and love too, right? So
You don't think you should be in a situation like that? You don't think you should be more balanced on the taking care of the child side? Both parents? You don't think like it should be heavier?
I think there is balance. If everyone is doing their job, you don't need to be unbalanced in any direction. So if both the father and the mother are doing their job, then the children are getting taken care of.
Okay.
Right? It doesn't require extra energy from either one of them. Now, of course, it depends on the family dynamics, how they're set up. You know, I mean, if you have a parent that does not go to work, and you have a parent that does work and takes care of everything, then that parent that stays home is going to obviously be more focused on household stuff because they're not bringing home the bacon. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So their focus is going to be on the children, taking care of the household or whatever. But if they're both working, then when they come home, they're going to have responsibilities, or they should have responsibilities for taking care of that household. So there should be balance, right? From both. And, one will give more attention to one part of that, taking care of the household, more than the other, because that's the way it is. That's the way it gets set up. Someone's paying the bills, someone's managing it, someone's doing the children's stuff, whatever. But at the end of the day, there's balance in taking care of that household. So
if I'm being completely honest, I've never really had a problem with, like, balance has never come up for me.
Me neither.
It's like it's never been really used. Like, we need to.
That's not your complaint.
Yeah, not at all.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
And
That's been my experience.
and that's me too. I don't really, but I'm also, and I can't speak for all men, but I'm also one that likes my free time, right? I don't think women, in a sense, when it comes to balance, I think women are more wanting to be, and this is maybe because I just haven't been there, but women are more open to wanting to be engulfed and suffocated by their man, so to speak, as opposed to, and that's just very, very, I know some hard, tough ass women out there be like, look, get off me, it's hot. So, but I mean, like, it's just one of those things to where I feel like, again, women are looking out there to find husbands. They're looking for that lifestyle. Most men are in that lifestyle because that's what she wants, not because that's what he aspires to. Not saying either is wrong or either is right, but in my experience, I don't feel a lot of men dreaming of the white picket fence and the dog and the kids and the husband and the wife and the wedding.
Okay. Well, I kind of beg the difference. I think it's just the way we see it. Maybe men are not thinking about picket fences and stuff like that, but
We think about how we're gonna pay for it. I mean, pretty much. But I mean,
Exactly,
it's a thing. But it's like,
right, like
how big do I want my picket fence to be?
Right.
Do you aspire to get married? Is that like something you grew up and always wanted to be? That was your end game and goal?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you say end game, like, ooh, I'm married now, my life is done. No,
No,
but is it something important in my life that I want and desire? Yeah.
Okay.
I want and desire it. Ooh, we're gonna get into that big word. Oh my God.
Hold on. Should we get back on the emasculation before we go into this other tangent?
What else we want to say
Go
about
ahead.
it?
I don't know what you're ready to say. So
Yeah, just say it. Just say
It's
it.
gonna lead us off into a.
Yeah, because I'm gonna
Just say
go
it.
down another road.
Say it,
Okay,
say it,
okay. So
You're being irresponsible, sir.
So there's been a big debate over using the word need, right?
Okay.
Like need is
I already know what you're talking about.
is ooh man, that's a dirty word these days.
Really?
Yes, it's a dirty word.
And we've had conversations.
yeah,
a lot
women-
of our female women friends.
Now, I know that they're saying that there are men out there that say the same thing. I don't need a woman, and women are saying I don't need a man. But here's my problem with that.
And we actually kind of got
I-
different perspectives.
Yeah, I think the problem is people are not understanding the word need. So what happens is usually when I'm in a debate with someone over this, what happens is they take the word need and they think of Pavlov, right? The psychiatrist who made the pyramid of needs, right? So they immediately think of that. And, need is like, water and food and right? And I'm like, okay, but in that particular case, what he's talking about is the need of survival, like basic needs to survive. The word need is not a bad word. The word need doesn't just mean surviving, but that's how people are thinking about it. But I give an example, like if you have a car needs what? If
Gas.
you want it to move, right, it needs gas. Now, is that a bad thing? It needs gas. Can the car exist without gas? Yes. But if you want it to drive and move and whatever, it needs gas. So if I want to be in a relationship as a straight man with a woman, guess what I need? Because I can't be in a relationship by myself. If you look at the word relationship requires two or more people or things, right? So it is absolutely impossible. I don't care how angry you people get about this, but it's absolutely impossible to be in a relationship without someone else. You can't be in a relationship with yourself because you're not two people.
But see, I agree with you.
But I'm not done.
Okay. No, go.
I'm not done. I'm not done. So if you want to be in a relationship, I do need a woman, and a woman does need a man. Now, the word is what I think people really should be using is saying dependent. I am not dependent on a woman or dependent. My life does not depend on a woman being in my life.
Okay.
Right? Like I can live, survive, and function and do all the things that I need to do in my life without a woman. But if I want a relationship,
You need that.
gotta have it.
Gotta have it.
Gotta have it, or there's no relationship. So we need to stop fussing over the word need.
Do you know why though? And I've had this conversation, not about the word need. That's new. I didn't know that was a thing. So I'm glad that I do know that now.
It's the need versus want.
It's
Okay.
That's more of the debate.
it's more of a these words are synonymous. These words mean the exact same. The issue with it is that people put feelings behind words, right? So you can sit here and say, oh, I had a good one. You can sit here and say something like being submissive, right? Submissive is a word that holds substance. But when people hear the word submissive, they put a feeling of weakness into it. So whatever they think that word feels like to them, all of a sudden that's a bad word and you're not going to use that to describe me. When that actual word has a very good meaning. Being submissive doesn't mean that you are inferior to somebody. It means that if there's a decision to be made, I'm trusting you to make the proper decision for the both of us. Mm-hmm. That's it.
Right.
It has nothing to do with being inferior, weak, slave, or just less of. It's simply, if we're in a situation and it's a choice needs to be made or decision needs to be made for the both of us, I'm going to pass it off to you, dear. You got it.
And like you said, we give words meaning and power. So whatever we put behind that word is what you're going to take it as. And I think that word has become, loaded in the sense of, again, social constructs.
Yeah.
You go back to the Bible. I'm a biblical person. So you go back to the Bible and, the whole being submissive thing and how things are today, like women are like, I'm not submitting. Because to a lot of women, I'm not all, to a lot of women, that word is like you said, like slave, like you're gonna like do everything I tell you to do and this, that, and the third. But if you want to be, technical, the Bible says for you to submit unto one another. So both of you submit to one another.
Right.
Easy, right?
Right. And so I do know that the history of or understand the history behind the angst with the word need is because kind of like rooted with what you're saying is that I've heard women say that men will tell a woman that she's needy, so she asks for stuff or whatever, blah, blah, blah. There's like, they express anything or they express that they want to be in a relationship or they want to get married, then men will say, oh, you're a needy woman. So women are like, they're pushing back on that. And like, listen, I don't need you. I can get this house on my own. I can get this car. I got this career going. So I get where that's coming from.
Yes.
But I would just submit to people, let's use the right words, though.
But
That's it.
It's in the context
You don't
of how
depend on a man, and the man doesn't. Just say, I am not dependent on a man in my life. And she would be 100% right. Shouldn't be dependent.
Use more words in your vocabulary, right? Like use real words, kids.
I'm just saying when you misuse words, it actually makes communication harder. So, I get that we have
Agreed.
slang, but sometimes you just
People are grown adults still using sight words. Like, as if they haven't learned real words to better describe whatever it is you're thinking and going through. Like we're still using sight words to describe shit.
And if we want to talk about need versus want, okay, this again could be TJ might be like, Darius, but so I remember I was trying to explain to them because I looked it up because that's just how I am.
The two words.
I'm an analytic. Yeah, I'm
Okay.
an analyst. So I'm analytical, and I, when I get into discussions like this, I got to make sure that I know what the hell.
Google is great. Google is great.
But the way I like to explain need and want is, if I'm thirsty and I want to quench my thirst, guess what I need? Anybody? What do I need if I'm thirsty?
H2O.
Right. Thank you. But I want Perrier. You see what I'm saying?
Are you a bougie?
That's the difference. Well, I'm just saying that's, whatever.
Yeah.
That's the difference between need and want. Want is how you want to supply your need.
Yeah.
Well, I think the conversation takes a turn, man. Like, it depends on the dynamics of how you're using the words. And that's the reason why, for me, and it depends on who you are, I think in the relationship, like for me, it's like, okay, I technically would want a woman to want, to be with me or want me, not need me. Because then once they don't need you anymore, it's the context and the dynamics. Yeah, it's like if
you don't want them to be dependent on you.
And here's the thing, somebody like that could be using you.
Mm-hmm.
Like you make XYZ and they like come like, oh, like he taking care of everything, this, that, and the third. Once the next big fish come along or whatever, they making more than you or can do more than you, then they hop to that person. That's the reason why the dynamics of need and want is so complex because you can see it in that light. You see it in that light too, right? Like,
right,
yeah, people don't want you to like need them. I don't want anybody to need me because then once you don't need me anymore,
out.
Yeah, like I want you to be there because you want
regardless
to
of
be there.
Right.
Yeah, but
and
you're talking about in dynamics of what has to happen in order for you to be in a relationship.
Yeah, I was being real
another
technical.
person.
Yeah.
You need two people to be in a relationship. So
Right.
you're being technical.
So you do need.
That was the conversations where
Right.
it was buttoned because of that. Like you're like, no, like technically you need two people.
Right.
And I'm like, well, we know that, but it's like
Right.
That's like that little kid right that's just poking at you, like just being a dick.
Yeah.
Like, geez, I understand that. I think when it comes,
I get your perspective, and that's clear. That what you're saying is that what people are really trying to say is, we don't want to be needed to an extent where once we supply that person's need, they're gonna run or leave us or not desire to be with us anymore. Yeah. We want them to want. There I go with want. Can I say want like? Can I do that? Like, want, like, we want them to want us, like, regardless of whether I'm supplying your need or not, you still want me in your life. So, yeah, I get that. I get that.
See, when it comes to all that, that would drive me fucking crazy. Right?
And it was all through text. We had this conversation. It was all through text message. And
This is real life?
I'm like, with a group, we have a group of friends. And so it's about what, like maybe 4 or 5 females in there, and it's like 4 or 5 guys or something like that. And the conversation just kept dragging. I'm just like, guys, y'all are talking about 2 different perspectives of need and want. So the conversation was just
so again, it would piss me off. I'd ready to slap shit out of everybody, right? and it's a semantics. One thing I don't like playing when it comes to words is semantics.
Yeah.
Like, I understand. You know what is being said. You know exactly where I'm going with it. As you pointed out, context matters. Yeah. So you know what is being said, but if, I'm a big person when it comes to like security, right? Mm-hmm. Like some people are very, I don't say insecure, but are not secure in whatever. So every little word you say or every little phrase you use will set them off, right? Mm-hmm. Because if in their life, if you look at some of the people that responded weird to the need, they're fighting that dependency or that dependent, or they're trying to find that independent.
Oh yeah, it was with the women.
You know what I mean?
The need word was,
exactly, right?
He was going against the women.
but that's what I'm saying. So they're fighting for their dominance. They're fighting for their position. Yeah, right. So every time you use that word need, it's going to hit them wrong. And that's not even what you're talking. You're not using it as a subordinate type word. Yeah. Mm-hmm. You're just using it as the word as it's defined, like you need something. Yeah. But so again, that's why it's hard to have conversations with people that aren't secure and confident in who and what they are, because a strong anybody, if you say that word to knowing that what their position is in life, they're not going to react or reply. They're going to be like, okay, and they'll answer your question and move right along. Yeah. There's this argument as we were talking about needs and wants. We need to get back on the emasculation of men. Yeah. And I want to talk about one thing. Okay. Another argument between male and female. Man. So there was this story that was on, I'm just going to play it. Check it out.
Like, you really just should have paid for all of our food.
For one, I'm not paying for everybody's food. It's your birthday, cool, but I'm not doing that. It's 18.
Why do you gotta pay for all y'all food though?
You brought 18 friends. I'm finna leave you. You staying here with them or you coming with me?
Nobody wants a broke nigga. You
Are you? Bro!
Wow. Wow.
What do you think?
Wow.
I just laughed. Yeah, that's funny.
You broke nigga like that.
Nah, yeah, that's funny.
Yeah.
I just would have walked off. That's just my personal, just me.
You're familiar with this whole thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Explain
actually, yeah.
explain it. So that was just a clip we showed. So everyone that's listening on the DSPs, you can't see the video that we played, but the video that we played came from, I guess, a viral post that has been going around just social media. And go ahead, TJ, explain that.
Well, it just seems as if there's a boyfriend and girlfriend. Look at their relationship, correct? Mm-hmm. Boyfriend and girlfriend standing in the parking lot. It looks like after dinner.
Yes.
They already paid and they walked out. So maybe there was an issue with the boyfriend not picking up her 18 friends' tabs.
Yeah.
So I guess
Maggiano's, I think they're like a Italian little normal Olive Garden type Italian.
Yeah, type
nothing
deal.
crazy,
Yeah.
but just
So I mean, but still 18 people. That's a little steep. You know what I mean? But anyway, I guess the issue was he didn't. He was a broke. Because he didn't pick up everybody's tab.
And that's kind of what it is. So I have several issues with that, right? One of my issues is, for one, we're celebrating your birthday. Why is it 18 friends? They can come. That's fine. First of all, I don't know how the hell you have 18 friends that are going to show up on your birthday. I have a lot of friends. I know a lot of people. I'm not getting 18 people that I would want to come to my birthday, right? Secondly, like, just why are we gonna have a discussion, a disagreement, and you're gonna have it in front of all your friends?
That's a big one.
Have it in public, and talk down on me, on my manhood, and who I am and what I represent because I decided to do something against what you wanted me to do. That's that manipulation, broke nigga. Not a real man.
Yep.
Like to make me feel bad about making a decision that I felt was best for me. Mm-hmm. And as my girl, you should support that decision. And if you don't, we're gonna have this argument in person. We're not gonna have ourselves looking like niggas out in this parking lot in front of it. We're not gonna have everybody looking at us like our home and our structure is not tight, right? We're going to have this behind closed doors, and we're going to figure this out, and we're going to solve it and fix it and move to the next step. You have 18 women that all went to a dinner. How they have that expectation that, first of all, if I'm having a dinner and 18 people are showing up, the only way 18 people are showing up is because I'm like, hey, y'all ain't got to pay. My boyfriend balling out. He going to take care of all of us, right? Well, not my boyfriend, but you know what I'm saying. So that is how you're going to get 18. Because if I invite 18 of my friends with the idea that they're paying and we're all going to hang out for my birthday, 9 are showing up, right? Something's going to, and that's just normal how it is, right?
Some people going to fall off.
You know what I mean? Yeah. But not everyone's going to come through unless you have that expectation. Like, when's the last time anyone ever invited somebody to the club bottle service and you're like, I got it. Everybody's coming, right? But let's say we're going on a trip and everyone's got to pay their own way. At the beginning,
everybody says, yeah, I'm down.
8 months.
And 2 months out, nobody's
2 people is left on the list.
Right.
Man, something came up. Man, and that's how it works. So that's just how it always works. Yeah. So again, like how are you spending my money for your birthday? And then it goes on further to where I guess he ended up not even paying for her. So his friend was like, you could have at least paid for your girl, right?
Oh, I didn't see that part.
So I don't know if something else happened, and maybe because she asked him to pay for everyone, he's like, bitch, I'm not even going to pay for you. How about that?
Oh, okay.
Which is probably the move that I would have made, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely would have made that move, right? And then it's just like, so now all of a sudden, because he respects his money, his income, and what he wants to do with his stuff, or maybe he just doesn't have it. Maybe he is a broke nigga. But I'm dating you, but you're dating me. You know my situation.
Listen, I don't even care if he could afford to do it. If he didn't invite them,
he
shouldn't have to pay for them. So, and that shouldn't make him less of a man because he doesn't want to pay for them.
Even if you do invite them, I mean, in what world, were you? I think it just depends on what it is and what context. You know what I mean? Like, if it's gonna be like a big birthday bash where he rents like a venue and he has food catered or whatever like that. Okay, cool.
On the
Everybody
house.
Yeah, like
Right.
food's catered.
Which is
you
what
got-
Damien
yeah,
was
whatever.
getting
But
at,
like
yeah.
if everybody's going out to dinner, everybody get an individual text. Like you're paying for your own ticket. I'm not paying for everybody's dinner. Why would that be expected? And I'll pay for her. And then
what's missing in that video is before the dinner. So, because I can't tell from that video if it was some kind of birthday and I don't know, but some kind of celebration for her and her friends were coming, or if he just invited her and then she invited her friends. That's what I'm not clear on.
Context is
Yeah, exactly. So that's the thing. But regardless,
I'm not paying.
we're
right.
talking about.
No,
we're actually,
but here, yeah, exactly.
we're actually talking
regardless,
about the communication
Right.
afterwards.
Right. But regardless of what that situation was in the beginning, for her to be in his face, putting him down and calling him out in front of her girls in public, and then her girls chiming in with it and she being okay with it.
Yeah.
See, that's the problem that I have with this video. Because the rest of it, I don't know what really happened. I don't know the setup for that. It's just what happened outside. That whole thing was bad, you know. And again, her just calling him out of his name and call him broke and the girl in the background.
Yeah, you broke it. Yeah.
Guess what, man? I guarantee you,
That's so disrespectful.
out of those 18, had he paid for her dinner, one of them 18 is like looking sideways, like, girl, you tripping. Like, I'm about to.
I think
like,
he might have paid
if he
for
did
hers,
this,
but
if
not
he
the
did that,
rest of them.
No, he didn't even pay for.
Okay, now we got it.
At the end of it.
I didn't see that part. You
No,
know
no.
what I'm saying?
So there's a part 2, and on the part 2, there's a friend that was recording was like, you didn't even pay for your girl. But again, like I said, if she would have came to me with that nonsense, I wouldn't have paid for anybody. Actually, I would have been in my car at home by the time everyone got to the parking lot. I would have got up and left. like we wouldn't have even had that conversation. And it's more like the crazy thing also is, like, how do you expect to talk to somebody like that in front of others and they're supposed to be calm, cool, and collective? Like, how is it okay and acceptable to talk to somebody in that manner?
So one thing I do want to point out, because I do think it needs to be said, is that when you look at that video, they're all young.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
So a lot of it is all about immaturity.
I was gonna say,
I'm not seeing 40 and 50-year-old women doing stuff like that.
Yeah.
I just don't see that going down. Now, there was a video, and I kind of mentioned it to you before, that was similar, where it was a gentleman had invited the woman out, and I think she might have been African or but I don't think she was American native.
Okay.
And so she brought a whole family, uncles and grandpas and aunties and little cousins and stuff. And at the end of the day, she was saying, "Oh, you gonna pay?" Like they came to him with the check, and she was like, "Yeah, you're supposed to pay." And he's like, "What? I didn't invite all of them."
Cultural
I'm
differences,
like,
man.
yeah, it could be that. So that all comes down to communication.
He's got
You know,
his own money.
It's cultural differences. That's what it sounds like. You talking about it's an African woman?
I'd have been single. And if I would have paid for all those 18 friends, I'm getting a hand job from somebody.
A hand job?
At the bare minimum. At the bare minimum, if I'm paying for 18, like, a couple of y'all are coming home tonight. Like, if I have to pay for 18, like, you have to understand there are some things that is designated for like relationship types. So like I'm paying for 18 people. 18 and your homegirls, and I guarantee because they felt like they weren't paying, they weren't getting the stuff on the left side of the menu.
Yeah,
they weren't getting the chicken nuggets. They weren't at the anti-pastas. They're over there on the entrees with
they're doing
an a la carte and like lobster. We're getting
they going in, huh?
Yeah, come to find out, like, I hope you have your wallet with you, ma'am.
Yeah.
And in all honesty, I would have not paid just because my foot has to be put down at some point.
I'm not paying for 18 people. Now he should have paid for hers, and then after that,
See, that's the problem.
But he
even after
he should have paid for hers, and then after that, like, if she was still mad about not paying for the friends, and then the conversation is more what we are talking about, how she talked to him afterwards. Like,
Right.
one, like you said, it goes to immaturity, and then two, how long have they been together? How long, you know, like what is the dynamics of their relationship? Because for you to talk like that to him in front of 18 other females, like,
how is that cool?
Yeah.
His whole manhood.
And I really honestly don't think any woman that's like really attached to a guy, like it may happen, but like talk to like a guy like that that's taking care of you in front of like 18 of your friends.
See,
that's crazy.
Yeah,
And-
that's so much immaturity.
That's crazy.
And now in the age of social media, whether he is a broke nigga or not, when the world sees him, he is a broke nigga.
Yep.
So I mean, and this is this man's life. This is this man's man. Regardless, just because you're mad, right? And even if social media didn't exist, in front of those 18 people and whoever was around in that city, he is that broke nigga. And once the story gets around, that's what it is. There's that story I was telling you about how, I don't know if it was a joke, and I'm pretty sure it was a joke, a comedian. So who knows how truthful it was. But they're arguing. I think it was, I don't know. Anyway, you're in a relationship and you're going to share some intimate details with the person that you're with.
Mm-hmm.
Just normally happens, right? I'm going to tell two stories. One, this woman, I guess this guy was going through some hard times and he wanted to kill himself at one point. And she basically talked him off the ledge. They got into an argument. They got into a fight. They got into an argument or whatever it happened. And all of a sudden she's like, nigga, I should have let you kill yourself.
Man.
Like, whoa. Like who, whoa.
But that's common though. I've had that happen so many times in relationships where it's like you confide, and I think that's what we really are diving into. That conversation is where you confide into, your woman or your significant other, and then later on that is used as ammunition against you. And I think that for men is the toughest thing. Like men, we don't really bounce back from that too well. When we confide something in you and we give you that information, for you to take that and then use it against us or attack us with it, that is a big issue. So ladies,
that is a guarantee that you are not going to get communication from that brother ever again.
Yeah, that's for anybody. You know what I'm saying? But to definitely do it to a man and the man you're supposed to be in a relationship with.
I don't think, and again, I don't date men, but I don't think men would stoop and go to that low of a blow. Like, bitch, that's why you have a BBL. Like, I don't think we'll. Not saying, and again, there's very childish men, but there's things. I mean, how many, bitch ass niggas is a woman call a man, right? Or but how many times is it like we call a woman a bitch and it's a rap, like that's the. So there's a level of dirtiness that I don't think a lot of men will go to. I think
we're men.
You know what I mean?
It's keyword.
And that's the thing. There's some boys out there, whatever. And I've stooped and I've said some real crazy stuff to people, right? In the heat of the moment. But I think there's a level of disrespect to where a man will go, but they just won't cross that line when it comes like to, that's why whatever. There's another story that a woman, and there's stories after stories, but a woman, and this is Jason, my homeboy Jason Wesley posted this on his Instagram. Shout out Jason. He said, I guess there was an argument. A woman was, again, the man confided into a woman, and he was talking about how something along the lines of his mother calling him worthless or disappointment. They got into an argument years later, and she's like, "Yeah, nigga, that's why I use the disappointment."
Yeah. See.
Like, relax, easy.
Yeah. I mean, that's a thing though. Like when it be
they see red.
Usually the people that are closest to you, and when they know your buttons, they will push you. Or when it comes to that point, and I'm sorry, not all ladies, and there are some men who do this, but I mean for the majority, women typically sometimes tend to, like they wanna get you where it can hurt, and they I mean, they know where it hurt. So to push that button is really what a lot of time happens.
And then
it's a button.
And then it's crazy because when things like that happen, and I'm not trying to condone anything, right? But when something like that happens, it's cool. Like we have to take it, right? It's so crazy because when it comes to women don't have to take it. They have a hit TV show out called Snapped, right? And it's about women that kill men that they're in relationships with because of how the man treated them. And it's a glorified show, and it's really interesting. I'm not going to lie to you. Do you think they would ever have a show just like that, Snap, but men killing women because of stuff? Like, do you understand how unacceptable that concept is? To have a hit show that goes over men having emotions to the point that we're pushed to the edge to where we want to kill the woman that we're with.
Yeah, no, it wouldn't go well. Feminists would definitely have that thing shut down quickly.
But yet on the flip, hit show, 10 seasons, great content. I've watched it.
Yeah, I actually like it.
And I'm like, and I'm like, you should have killed that nigga.
I cannot watch those kinds of shows. I cannot watch reality-based shows and shows about crime and
You missing out.
Nah, man, I can't. I don't know. It just feel. I don't know, just like you were saying, like glorifying like the negative stuff of life. I just can't watch that stuff. I can't watch no real wife of anything. All that arguing and cussing and fussing at one another.
That's
It's
different.
like,
Yeah, that's trash.
You know, or those crime shows. Like, what is it about crime shows that women like to watch those shows so much?
I personally think Law and Order is one of the
Do
greatest
you
shows
watch
ever.
how many crime shows do you
man.
watch?
I like crime shows. I like
you.
I like serial killer. Like I'm sorry, man. I like crime mystery. You know what I'm saying?
Crime shows like
But I'm
on
not
that
talking
one,
about. I'm not talking about CSI. So I'm talking about like the shows.
First
that are, like,
48, stuff like that.
I'm talking about shows that's supposed to be based on like real life crime. So it'll be kind of like almost a docudrama. You know,
I mean,
crime,
I like,
you know.
yeah, like
First 48 is
serial
actually
killer
interesting.
That was,
Yeah, I can't watch
that was
stuff.
down the way and was killed about 4 or 5 people in their town.
You know what? The one I
Just saying, like,
the one that I saw that was interesting that I think a lot of people missed the whole story on was the American Boy Next Door or something like that. The American Family Next Door, the one that had that dad who killed his wife and kids and put him in the barrel.
Yeah, I think I know
oil
what you're
barrel.
talking about. Yeah,
right?
I know what you're talking about.
That is one of the ones that I think a lot of people missed it. Their whole relationship, and me talking about this is me making an excuse, right? Their whole relationship, this was a guy who was overweight, lost a lot of weight, found himself, right? She treated him like crap, like he was just whatever. And she's even in the story, if you watch the movie and catch it, she's like, I treat him really bad and I'm sorry. I should treat him better. I overlook him. I take him for granted. She was talking about that because during the movie, they had her text. They're showing parts where she was texting back to her and her friend. Mm-hmm. It shows how she treats him like crap. Like she was treating him very horribly, taking just whatever. And with that being said, he snapped basically. Then he found himself, found another girlfriend, got involved with that. Instead of leaving his wife like a normal person would, he killed her and the kids, right? So it was a horrible situation. He was totally wrong for that. He was wrong.
Yeah.
But again, if you look at it from the flip side, it's like women are like, that have been treated bad. It's like,
They're gonna be like, he crazy.
well, no,
Right? Like,
but if it was a girl that did it,
yeah, no, it's not. Yeah, it's not. That's not a thing. It's like, what did he do?
yeah. But what did he do to make her do that?
Yeah,
Like, what was
and we know this. We know.
Anyway, man, that's that 60 minutes. I'll start it off. I'm gonna leave everyone for one. Like, as we talk about these issues, like I always started off before, we are men that deal with women. That is what we do. So a lot of the commentary and the conversations is not based off of women being pieces of shit, which they are, or women being whatever. This is a conversation, which y'all aren't. I'm joking, totally joke. But it's more about women, what we deal with. And we understand that this is a two-sided street. We understand that most of these issues aren't women issues or gender issues. These are just people, humans being human, and people will always people. And I think that's more of what these conversations are. Now, again, women in locker rooms or wherever they go, the nail shop and the salons, y'all have these same kind of conversations about men. And y'all should. But again, that is who you deal with. And I understand and we understand it. But please don't think that these are isolated issues when it comes to just one gender or the next. Everyone is going through this, and in order to figure out how to find a solution to it, we have to understand that this is a people problem and not make a man and a woman battle and see who wins that battle, because we're always going to lose.
Right.
We have to figure out how to solve it as a whole and as a group. And in my opinion, be better people and hold yourself accountable as humans. And that is going to be our mode and our method into solving a lot of these issues that we point gender and fingers to. TJ, go ahead.
Just communication, man. Just comes down to communication, whether man or woman. Communication.
Speak, talk properly. And again, like we've always said, I know me and Darius has had this conversation, but when it comes to communication, it's not just speaking properly, it's also knowing how to listen properly as well.
Yeah.
It's those two things, which again, we just speak on. Most people know those two aspects. Being able to express yourself and listening. Whether or not everybody practices that is a different story, but most people, when you ask them what is important in communication, they'll say those two things. The part that gets missed, though, like we said last week, is how you say stuff matters a lot. So respect, or tact, brother.
I still don't agree with anything. I'm not listening.
Express. How
I'm not
you
listening.
express your.
I hear nothing you're saying right
hear
now.
nothing.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm big on that. How you express.
I hear nothing. you're saying.
Because what people don't understand, communication is not
Bro,
just.
what are you talking about, man?
Talking about, man.
Okay, we got a soundboard here. But no, people think that communication is about talking, but it's not just about talk. Like, that doesn't make it communication. That's just a medium that's being used. You're talking, right? But in order for there to be communication, the receiver has to receive your words. If they're not able, if you offend them, guess what they're doing? They're shutting down. They're not listening. So
Straight up.
you have no communication going. You talking, you saying what's on your mind, but the other person's like, they done zoned out. So you have no communication. So yeah, I just want to.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard.
Whatever, man. I'm gonna have to take that board.
Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it.
Wow. Okay, I'm done with this show then. You just emasculated me.
No, you're right, and we've talked. I'm trying to get better on my tech, but it's a hard thing. But that is our 60 minutes. Once again, TJ, thank you for coming through. I do appreciate your time. You have to come back, okay? And again, always a pleasure.
Of course.
This is Socially Responsible Podcast. And again, if you want to, I'm over here talking. I ain't even got the screen on me. I'm sorry. Y'all look at me, goddamn. But if you want to find us again, locate us on www.linktree.com/irresponsible. That is IRSPNSBL. Live on Sundays, Saturdays. We'll come on around 8, 9 o'clock. Live, YouTube, Facebook. And if you want to listen to us on the DSPs, that is the digital streaming platforms. Apple Podcasts, iHeart, Pandora, Spotify, anywhere where you can listen to podcasts. Once again, this is Socially Responsible, the podcast. That is IRSPNSBL. And we're out. Peace. Have a good one.
Good night.